Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Oh my gosh. I'll be right back, y'all. I'll be right back. Alright, that is better. I like it. Woo! Wow, I was looking rough. I was looking real rough. Man, having a beard like that is exhausting. It's too much maintenance. I'm glad I cut it off. Alright, enough of that. Let's get to the video. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of my channel. Episode? Welcome back to my channel for another video that I got for you guys today to recap on week 2 of my full stack developer bootcamp with DevCodeCamp. This week was great. Still went over more JavaScript, also some GitHub, explained how to use that, what's the benefits of using that. And while I'm talking about my week 2 of my bootcamp, I'm also going to show some code snippets of what I did, what I learned, and how I'm implementing it. How I'm implementing change into what I've already know to help make my code a little bit better. First, I want to talk about source control. Source control / version control, which is somewhat of a technique, and there are some tools out there that helps tracks and manages changes to your file / project that you've been working on over a certain period of time. Now, source control, version control is used with a command line utility called Git. And pretty much Git is an open source tool that allows you to have a better better management over your source control. Now, Git at its core, other than being a command line utility program, it is there to pretty much centralize all the changes that you're making to your files over time. You have backups, you have historical views of the changes that were made. You also have the ability to revert back to certain changes, because every time you use Git and you make a change to a file, it has a revision number or an ID that's associated with it. So in case you make a mistake after you use Git to push a file or push changes that you made, you're able to go back and revert. Using the Git command line tool, you're able to see differences in history, based on the different changes that you made, and you can use these IDs to revert back to a working state where your code is working, or you didn't actually have any mistakes or bugs in it. Git also has a thing called conflict resolution. So if you are working by yourself, or if you're working on a team and there are multiple changes that are pushed within Git, Git is smart enough to where it'll see the different changes that are made, and if there's a conflict based on the code that you push multiple times, or you and a coworker, the changes that you guys have made, Git is smart enough to let you know, hey guys, there's an issue with the changes that you guys made. Here's where the issue occurred, or here's where I think the issue is at. And then it's getting to the point to where Git is smart enough to say, hey, here's how I would solve it. But at the end of the day, you as a developer are in charge of understanding what needs to actually happen with the actual code that you're punching out, right? Like, you understand what's the word I'm looking for? The logic, right? So if you and your coworker are working together and there's a conflict, because you understand the logic in this code that you pushed, you guys are able to work together to eliminate some things that can resolve that conflict. Now, there's a tool or open source product called GitHub. GitHub is essentially Git but online. So it's pretty much an online hub that allows you to push a lot of these changes too, and it gives you a better visual scenery of what it is that you're actually doing. So, once you push something to Git and you go to the actual project, it'll tell you how many commits you have. It'll have a commit message on, hey, this is what I worked on for the day, or this is the stuff that I changed. And it also gives you an overview of what was actually implemented, what was taken away, the difference between this file and that file, or it actually gives you a difference in history when you made a change last week and then somebody pushed again the next following week to GitHub. So GitHub is pretty much a pretty cool open source tool that gives you better visual effects than looking at a command line matrix style tool on your screen. Now, I am talking about all this because I'm trying to retain everything that I'm learning. This is stuff that I already know, but I know you get better as you talk to other people about it. So if I don't make any sense, I'm completely sorry. I'm just trying to get better. I'm trying to maintain the knowledge that I have and also get to a point to where I have this stuff down pat and I can actually call myself an expert in this subject. Now, the first code snippet that I want to show is something called an object. An object in JavaScript is an entity that has many properties. For example, let's take a cup, for instance. A cup has a color. A cup has maybe writing on it. A cup has something in it, maybe juice, water, soda, right? So with that cup example, right, you have the color, the size, the liquids, the design. All of those are direct entities of that cup, and essentially that's what an object is in JavaScript. Now with that object, there are certain ways to access those properties, right? So you have dot notation and then you have bracket notation. Dot notation, which you see here in the code snippet, is one way of accessing the entities, whereas bracket notation has somewhat of a little bit different feeling to it. Now, even though dot and bracket notation pretty much do the same thing, dot notation is used a little bit more frequently because of the neatness of how it looks and its ability to be comprehended by someone who really don't understand coding. And with bracket notation, right, you have the brackets with the string of that entity that it is you're trying to grab. So pretty much they do the same thing, but this is just, two different ways of accessing entities of an object. Another thing that I'm learning more of in this bootcamp, and it's something I already knew, but you have a difference between an error in your code and a bug in your code. If you see the code snippet right here, you see that an error, usually 9 times out of 10, will give you an error message as of what's wrong, whether if it's a value type error, indexing error. There are multiple types of errors that JavaScript and any other language will display to your console or on page. Now, as far as a bug is essentially something that isn't working properly in your code. And what I mean by that is, if you have a function that is supposed to add two numbers together, but they end up subtracting the numbers, right? The behavior of that code and what it's supposed to be is off. Is not doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So that's a difference between an error in your code and a bug in your code. Now, I don't want to make this video too long, but this is just me giving you a recap of what it is that I've been learning since week 1, but this was specifically for week 2. And like I said, it's an amazing experience. It's a good recap for me. It's allowing me to express to you guys exactly what I learned, letting me know that I'm retaining the information that I learned and that I have the ability to be able to explain it and talk to other people about it. That way I can retain things better. So hey, I hope you guys like the video that I provided for you today. Make sure you comment, like the video, give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe. Hit that notification button. Anytime I make new content, it's definitely going to come out, and you guys will be able to see it. Also, I'm definitely going to try to do this weekly. I might post one video, sometimes might post 2 videos that week. It really depends. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to bring out good content and get better at each video that I put out. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you have a blessed one.